All right, after months of negotiations, the United States and Ukraine have now signed an agreement granting America access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals. Ukrainian officials say the deal is a 50-50 partnership with no debt obligations for Kyiv. The two sides also agreed to establish a United States-Ukraine reconstruction investment fund. Let's bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio, who's joining us now from our bureau in London. So, Ramy, you highlighted the opportunity that existed yesterday between these two countries to get to this deal. Give us some of the specifics.
Sure. Well, first off, Vlad, it's been a long road. There's been a lot of drama around this deal. It was set to be signed back in February when Zelenskyy flew to meet Trump, but then there was that dramatic meltdown that we saw around the world. There you are right there, when Trump said that you don't have the cards to negotiate. And then fast forward just to last week, right? And he met again. They met again at Pope Francis's funeral at the Vatican. And then it appeared that there was peace looking at them there, a possible turning point. That's what some people are saying. And now we have this agreement. It's a joint investment fund. It gives the U.S. and Ukraine equal control of Ukraine's natural wealth under its soil. Each side would invest the same amount of funds to find, to extract those resources, and then to develop those resources. The money coming out would go towards, one, paying for the military support that the U.S. will give in the future, not so much backward looking, and I point that out because that was Trump's original demand, to pay something on the order of like tens of billions of dollars for the past 3 years. Funds would also go, though, towards Ukraine and towards its own reconstruction.
All right, so clearly this is an economic agreement, not a ceasefire agreement or one that ends the bloodshed, but could it potentially provide a pathway to end the war in Ukraine? It would strike me as unlikely because Vladimir Putin's about territory, and this is just sort of another feather in his cap, but not the whole enchilada, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, sure. Well, from Ukraine's position, the hope, at least, is that this agreement, which, as you say, is economic, will mean that the U.S., if it invests, will be more inclined to protect then what becomes its own interest, right? That it will now then invest in. Basically, Washington will keep its money safe, will want to keep its money safe. That's a belief, and that it'll keep defending against Russia's invasion, like we saw under the Biden administration. Now, up on your screen, in focus are those critical raw materials and those rare earths. You can see them across Ukraine. And by the way, the size, the mass of Ukraine here is about the size of Texas. Ukraine itself says that it holds about 5% of the world's total critical minerals, which is a lot. We're talking about titanium, we're talking about graphite, we're talking about lithium, aerospace, defense applications here for security and for war. Now, there's no explicit pledge, though, as you asked, from the U.S. that it will go and defend Ukraine like it did in the past. But the hopes are this will be the tie that binds them back together.
All right, we'll be watching. Ramy Inocencio for us in London this morning. Thanks, Ramy.
You bet.